Drabby told us this before the show that he did reach out to Brandon McManus's attorney, Brett Galloway, I believe is his name. Because we had Tony Busby on, who's the attorney representing the flight attendants in the whole McManus sexual assault case.
A former commander kicker.
Former commander, sorry. But McManus said no. The lawyer said he would do it. He wants to do it, but he's got to check with McManus. McManus said, don't do it. And McManus doesn't know who we are. But
I kind of thought it was interesting that they,
No.
without really knowing anything, it seemed like they were definitely surprised by the cut. That was my takeaway from it, because he referred to it as, when I was saying, you want to come on? And I told him
Give
we
your
had
side of the
BuzzFeed,
story,
give
yeah.
your side of the story.
Right.
And he said, he goes, I'm definitely interested. I want to talk to Brandon about it. And he goes, with what Washington just did to him, we want to make sure we're on the same page.
right.
So that kind of jumped out at me like, well, they definitely didn't, or they're definitely Rick about it.
So we tried.
Well, I'm sure they're not happy.
In his defense, he feels like innocent until proven guilty, right?
He was adamant on the phone yesterday that, the defense is going full steam ahead.
Right. Right.
But I would think if you're McManus, you want to, especially to this market where you were going to kick, not just nationally, but you're going to kick here, you would want your attorney to defend yourself and state your case.
Right.
I would think that.
Maybe, but
A lot of defendants don't like to speak.
Maybe.
Make the other side, the
And maybe he
prosecution,
just
prove their
maybe
case.
he just knows, like, I'm never going to kick in Washington. Why
does it matter?
Why bother with damage control there if I'm going to be in a different city?
Yeah. I mean,
I
for
don't-
whatever
I don't know.
reason.
I can't get into
whatever
his head.
reason he told his attorney no.
Right.
I just wanted to mention the Junkies poll of the day, brought to you by Scotty's Vodka, is overwhelmingly in favor of shorts.
Very
Last
good.
I checked, it was 93%. It's only been up for
Wow.
a couple minutes. So
That's-
93% supporting shorts.
What was the question
You
exactly?
gave it to me. I wrote it exactly as you
Is
stated.
there a cutoff age for?
Yes.
And they said no.
Yes. Correct.
Maybe.
Right now, it's 92% say no, there is not a cutoff age for men in shorts.
Right. I think I've mentioned this to you before, but
Isn't that isn't there a podcast, Men in Shorts, that's like a soccer podcast?
sure
I remember during like World
No, it's
Cup.
Men in Blazers.
Oh, it's Men in Blazers.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, we could do the offshoot, Men in Shorts.
Men in shorts. Yeah, sure. let's do it.
I know we'll move on, but you guys know this. JP knows this. I don't know if Cakes was aware. My father never wore shorts. My father was like a nerd, like a intellectual. He prided himself on being an intellectual. He wore a jacket every day. We would go to the beach, and he would wear polyester pants to the beach.
But he'd wear a bathing suit. I don't think my father ever wore
bathing
shorts.
suit
Did you
if
ever
he-
see my dad in shorts? I don't think my dad ever was in shorts. He'd be in the garden
When
working
your
outside.
dad would
with,
mow
like-
the lawn, what would he wear?
I don't think he wore shorts.
My dad would wear pants.
My dad wore pants pretty much all the time. The only time I'd see his legs is when he wore a bathing suit.
Yeah,
Like at the
bathing suit to go in the
beach.
pool. My dad is also embarrassed by his legs because he had like a polio when he was little, and his legs didn't. I don't know. They stopped. I don't know. They're weird. He had skinny legs.
I think there's
That makes
something
sense.
generational and cultural. Like if I really think about it now, my father was born in Italy. I have not visited Italy that many times over the course of my life. We would go every 6 or 7 years.
Right.
I don't think my Italian cousins were wearing shorts.
Did your dad wear shorts? I'm trying to think.
My dad?
Yeah,
He would definitely wear shorts.
he did.
100%.
Jean shorts.
No, he was not a jorts guy. Though apparently jorts are making a comeback.
They are.
Yes, according to my youngest son, they're making a comeback.
Really?
He's not wearing any, but he said they're making a comeback,
Oh, I haven't seen that.
which is kind of weird.
Would you do it if you see people
Would
wearing?
I do jorts?
Jorts?
I mean, I used to have this
Yeah.
won't shock anybody. Multiple pairs
Well,
of
you
Well, we all did.
jorts.
They were huge. I had 2 pair.
Yeah.
I didn't have multiple. I guess multiples too.
You had
but-
2.
Yeah.
But did you have? I mean, yours were huge.
They weren't really. They weren't like. No, they weren't
Yours
big
were
and
like
baggy.
capris.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think you're rewriting history over there.
All right. It's possible.
All right, let's get
Possible.
into the Commanders. According to ESPN's John Keim, there's belief that Cliff Kingsbury, who served as a senior offensive assistant for USC last season, has grown as an offensive mind and a play caller. Quote, one coach who has faced Kingsbury multiple times said he likes how Kingsbury has evolved as an offensive coach in the NFL. The coach said early in his Arizona career, Kingsbury did not throw enough between the hashes. They were 25th in his first 2 seasons. But in his final 2 seasons, Arizona ranked 13th in that category. It looks like he's gotten a better feel for it, the coach said. The coach also said he likes how Kingsbury incorporated the tight end more, something that likely will take place in Washington. End quote. They feel like Kingsbury is making progress, making strides. Maybe was, too run-oriented at some points during his career.
To use one of Jason's favorite phrases, the proof will be in the pudding.
Correct.
Right.
Well, he was more balanced as an offensive play caller in the NFL than he was in college. That's a fact. I mean, he ran the air raid at Texas Tech, and he would spread out 5 receivers. He didn't care about running.
Ultimately, we don't know. Like, supposedly one of Jaden Daniels' weaknesses, according to some, was throwing between the hashes. So maybe Kingsbury's offense reverts to throwing to the outside where Jaden is more adept, if those scouting reports are accurate. The other thing depends on your personnel, right? So is Zach Ertz going to be a guy who gets open in the middle of the field? If so, then they'll throw to the middle of the field in the hashes. I think it's hard to project. I think there was an assumption Eric Bieniemy took over as the head coach, young quarterback. The assumption was they're going to probably run the football.
Wrong.
And they didn't.
That was very wrong.
They didn't.
Very wrong assumption.
So, yes, you can look at trends on Kingsbury and the offense, and we all just assume it's going to look a certain way. But until you see it, you don't know, because Bieniemy definitely surprised us with the way that they attacked offensively.
Well, I don't
think about it. You got Sam Howell, a young quarterback who had one career start, and you're throwing it nonstop,
and your offensive
and
line
running it
struggling.
like 5
You're not
times in the
gonna see
first
that.
half.
You're not going to see that with Jaden Daniels. There's no way.
It's your assumption. I think you're going to be right.
There's no way that there's a repeat of what happened with Sam Howell under Bieniemy. It's impossible.
No, they're not.
Dan Quinn is gonna have a cut up of that offense from last season to say it can't look anything like this for Jaden Daniels.
Was that just Bieniemy's philosophy, or did he feel like he had no confidence in the run blocking and in the running game?
Maybe that was
that he decided to throw.
I don't know.
Because in Kansas City, who knows who was calling the plays? But you had Mahomes, but they didn't throw the ball 50 times a game. I mean, they had a balance. But I wonder if that was just his philosophy, or if he said, you know what, we can't run the ball with who we have.
Zach Ertz told John Keim regarding Kingsbury, quote, "He's one of the best offensive minds that I've been around." Well, I think Ertz is going to have a pretty good year if he can stay out on the field for 14-plus games.
Just because of knowledge of the offense, and Kingsbury trusts them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we don't really have that much else.
Yeah, I mean, the tight end room is pretty barren. I know they drafted Sinnott in the third. He was a third-round pick, correct?
Second.
Yeah.
He was a second-round pick?
Wasn't Sinnott a second-round pick?
I'll double-check that. Because they traded for multiple second-rounders. Yeah. That's right. So I think Zach Ertz is going to be like a 50-catch guy if he stays healthy in this offense.
I know I was listening to like a random Commanders podcast this morning as I was driving in. Like, once you start listening to podcasts, like your algorithm or whatever, it just starts throwing all kinds of Commanders podcasts at you. So I just listened to some random dude's podcast, and he was hyping up Jaden and how Jaden had been performing. And one of the comments was that the reports are that one thing they've been encouraged about is that Jaden hasn't just looked to tuck the ball and run himself.
Right.
Like that he's been hanging in there and making the throws.
Well, you're not going to get hit in minicamp, so one would expect that you're going to stay in the pocket longer.
True. Fair.
I think Eckler is going to have if he can stay healthy and play 15 games, I think he's going to have a good year.
Now, what's the story with that? Somebody said you really got to look into this TikTok chick that he married.
Into Austin Eckler's new wife?
All I saw was a post.
I don't know anything about her.
He married a TikTok person that apparently is like a little wacky.
Okay.
There's a wacky factor to this one. I don't know her name.
Melanie Wilking.
I don't know what her story is.
She's a professional dancer and TikTok star.
Yeah. There's something, I don't know. Is she got like a reality show, or is it just
TikTok
is why she's famous? But somebody's like, dude, you got to look into it. It's wacky.
Very attractive. Shocker.
Yeah. You look like you want to chime in on it, Valdez. Do you know about her?
She's the star of a Netflix documentary about the TikTok cult, 7M.
Oh, okay. So you know a lot about her.
I know a lot about her.
All
I
right.
watched like the first 2 episodes.
That just came out, right?
Yes.
Is she wacky?
No, she's normal.
She is a normal person.
Yes, she's normal. Unless something happened in the 3rd episode I don't know about. Her sister joined 7M, which is like a management company for influencers, and they're accusing that group of a brainwashing cult, of a TikTok cult.
I saw the trailer.
So maybe that's what it is. So
I saw the trailer that her and her sister were a duo.
Yes.
And you could talk about they were a duo doing TikTok for a couple of years. Then the one signed the management contract, and like her family can't even get in touch with her now.
Right.
Yes, they've blocked off all communication between her and her family.
By the way, I didn't realize that
it's driven a wedge between her and her family, and she's grieving basically the loss of her sister because she's been ripped from the family and brainwashed.
Eckler met her by just messaging her on Instagram.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
modern day, bro.
Like shot his shot, and that's how they met.
Right. So that's the deal. So somebody's like, she's in like a cult.
Her sister.
No. Her sister, who she used to do TikToks with, was a part of a cult, or still is a part of a cult.
But
I don't
she
know. I haven't
wasn't.
watched the ending.
But
No,
she wasn't.
She is desperate. Her and her family are desperately trying to bring their sister back to the home front.
It's the #1 show on Netflix because I was looking for something to watch last night and I saw it. I only saw the trailer, and in one of the trailers, the father is outside and he's talking to an intercom, and he's like, "I am whatever Miranda's dad or Melanie's dad. I'm not sure which one it is." And he's like, I haven't hugged my daughter in a year. Can somebody? I know you're listening. Can you answer? Yeah.
Yes. And they take all of the money that they earn from their endorsement deals and they use it for the church.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a brainwashing cult that she was wrapped
Jason,
up
I
in.
don't care about the fact she's in a cult. I just want to know if Austin Eckler's going to catch 70 balls from Jaden Daniels in 2024.
That's probably a lot, but Eckler needs to touch the ball 12 to 15 times.
I think that's coming off
Don't you think?
an injury-marred season last year.
Yeah.
I think that's a reasonable.
I mean, they're
if
not
he's
just going to
healthy,
give the ball to Brian
that's a
Robinson
reasonable number
30
for him.
times a game. I mean, and Rodriguez is just a backup.
Right. Right.
So who's going to be, if you had to pick one person, who's going to be the breakout star of the offense besides Jaden Daniels?
A breakout star.
Like, who's going to be the guy?
How
Without saying,
about you're going to reinvigorate Jahan Dotson's
I think
career?
that's the guy because for what I don't know if it was the weird wacky system that Bieniemy employed, whether he was in the doghouse, whether he was nursing an injury, something was amiss with him in year 2. I think he could be a big bounce back type candidate in this offense.
could it be?
If you had to put money on it, who's going to lead them in receiving touchdowns?
Receiving touchdowns?
McLaurin. No?
I'm going to say Eckler.
You're going to say Eckler?
Yep.
I'm going to go wild card. I'm going to say Zach Ertz.
Yeah, but
Zach Ertz, like if he stays healthy, he could have red zone threat. He could have 8 or 9 touchdowns in this
It would
offense.
be a huge.
if you
year
had
for him
8 or
if he
9,
did
yeah.
that.
That's a high end range guess.
When was
But
the last tight end? How many tight ends have 8 or 9 touchdowns?
not many.
Yeah.
Guys like Kelsey, Kittle.
See, here's the problem with Ertz. He's played 7, 10, 11, and 6 games
That's
in the
the
last
problem.
4 years.
The health.
Yeah. So I'm going to bank on him missing some time.
If he plays in like 15 games, I think he could catch 6 or 8
All
touchdowns.
right, hadn't done that in 6 years.
It has been quite a while. It's a stretch.
We're getting
I
closer and closer.
understand.
Last week we were at 100 days, right, before the season opener with the Ravens. Was it the Ravens and Chiefs? Is that what it is?
Ravens are at the Chiefs.
Ravens are at the Chiefs. We got to be like around 93.
It's coming.
94. Yeah.
It's soon.
It's going to be here before you know it.
Yep.
Summer's already over. I'm doing the Jason
That
bit.
is the Jason bit.
Summer's already over.
Put away your shorts, Drab. Summer's over.
I believe
apparently.
it's officially 16 days away from starting.
But the official start
Something
of
like
summer.
that. Man, I might be off by a day
No, I
or
think you're right.
two.
It's like June
21st.
20th or 21st.
Yeah, something like that.